Hello there. Last week's Dane County Board of Supervisors, we passed a resolution which I was proud to sponsor, and it had received about a third of the board's co-sponsors coming on before this was even raised as a resolution option that did receive a vote of approval last week at the Dane County Board meeting. This was to hang a Ho-Chunk flag permanently below the U.S. flag in front of the city-county building. I want to thank those members of the Assembly who voted in favor. And I want to just bring us back to a timeline of why we're sitting where we're at today and why I came up with this resolution. In 1852 in our country, there were treaties, and treaties. These all related to the acquisition of lands that were first occupied by indigenous people here on the what are now known as the boundaries of Wisconsin. Following that, it came to assimilation. Over 20,000 Native Americans were moved 100 miles away from their homes into boarding schools that were modeled after prison systems. Culture, clothing, language, these things were all taken away from our indigenous friends. And many of them were left as shells. Many of them also ended up in under gravestones at these various boarding schools, something we are now just coming to realize as a nation how horrific it was. Then, not too far after that, we started to regulate and control the Native community through the church, where white supremacy was very prevalent, and where Natives were called heathen, and they were told to stop speaking Indian. Let's call it what it is. What we faced here in our country and in the borders of our state of Wisconsin and here in Dane County was nothing less than cultural genocide. A century later, it became about Native land again. In the 1940s and 50s with Enbridge creating Line 5 up in the Bad River area. There's a documentary on it now that is playing here in Dane County if you go to the AMC. There was a BI agreement that really just basically bought a strip of that land for $3,800, which was nothing more than stealing that land, and it was given away as a gift for these oil companies and these energy companies, I should say, to make money off of land that should be preserved and restored. In 1953, they tried to get more of Indian tribes, which they described as the Indian problem. And the House of the United States created Resolution 103, which passed to terminate tribal status. And in 1956, we saw the Relocation Act. Again, it was about terminating and creating genocide on this community. We cannot erase those who were the foundation of our country. Africans, African Americans, Indians. We have to stand by these people and honor what they did for our country. These things are still happening. We all remember the walleye wars that I faced as a young man graduating in the high school in northern Wisconsin near Lac du Flambeau. This happened in the mid-'80s when my own neighbors were carrying signs that said "Kill an Indian and save a walleye." Just this month, the Sun Prairie School Board, which includes my district, approved a literary arts curriculum, a language arts curriculum that perpetuates stereotypes that depict Native Americans as wandering and encourages kindergartens to don costumes and to drum and dance to recreate a powwow. This is something I'm meeting with the Sun County Board of Education on next week. The flag can never be a retribution or a make-good by hanging in front of the city-county building. Rather, our Native brothers and sisters and third-gender friends are resilient and keep their beliefs and culture alive through renewed efforts. It is time we join those efforts, and we must walk along their side. I'm grateful that the Ho-Chunk flag will hang below the U.S. flag in perpetuity in front of the city-county building because of this resolution. Thank you for all of you who have expressed your concern and have walked this path with me.